Hello, this is Jeff Malone, the X is Silent, here with a review of the February 9th, 2013 episode of Saturday Night Live with host and musical guest, Justin Bieber. No great sketches from this episode. The Bieber decoys was pretty solid, especially Ellen. She's Ellen. The protective brother. That's what I've been seeing that sketch named. I don't know if protective is the right word. Anyway, it's the one where the Glice sketch. Great performance from Taran Killam. It seems like the definition of an episode where one joke is just beaten into the ground. Well, it is actually, for my money at least, the opposite of that. A joke that was stupid to begin with and was somehow turned around into something quite satisfying. And then the Booker T. Washington sketch, the Booker T. Washington School of the Valentine's Dance sketch, that was the best sketch of the night, crazily enough. When they first did those, the Booker T. Washington School sketches, with Jay Farrow as Principal Fry, who they breathed too hard, and Keenan as the gym teacher, it just went on, and I'm like, this could be worse, but what is this? And then they did it some more times, it became a recurring sketch. I'm like, how did that happen? But somehow it's become a good sketch. It featured Bieber's best performance of the night, which isn't saying much, but that's how good that sketch was. The mediocre, everything else, every other sketch of the night was mediocre. So that's the Super Bowl cold opening, which, when you're gonna make fun of the CBS's NFL broadcasting crew, there's like no way for the sketch not to be mediocre. So the monologue and the Californians. I really would have loved it if at the end of the Californians, when Devin, Bill Hader's character, when the camera cut to him and then it cut to another camera right next to that camera to get another angle of him, and then he reacted in that shot, and they kept going back and forth. I loved if that lasted a lot longer, if they had like 20 more camera cuts, and then it would have just been that. Then that would have been the joke, and that would have been fun. But anyway, as for the Californians, that's a recurring sketch that has just the worst reputation in some circles, and I loved it the first time they did it, and I stand by that and believe that the first rendition of the Californians was excellent. But yeah, they haven't done much with it in subsequent appearances, so that's how that goes. I don't look forward to it that much anymore. Okay, on with the rest of the sketches, the rest of the mediocre sketches, as it were. The Bravo spin-offs, which felt like Bravo's such an easy target these days. I was reading on another review saying that, another review of this episode of SNL saying, I mean, everyone's making fun of Bravo these days, so you gotta go a little harder than that. Update was overall mediocre, but when it comes to Seth, mediocre is better than usual. So there is that. So Richard III's friends from growing up was one of the segments on Weekend Update this episode, and that is a bit that is, it's funny that you insert whatever dictator, whatever ruler, and it's funny that each one of those rulers, tyrants, has these same two friends, So that's funny. Fred and Vanessa play it the exact same, but their costume's always different. So that's funny. But then that's also the problem, that it's the exact same. So we know exactly how it's gonna go. Yeah. Corey, the one black guy in every commercial, was also mostly mediocre. It was a nice observation, but it was. They didn't do too much with it other than Keenan's enthusiasm. Although the bit about he would die if he didn't high five every 12 seconds was an inspired idea. The Grease-esque 50s romance thing is it was kind of funny. It was getting into a rhythm. The in the middle of the sketch. Then I didn't like the reveal that Bieber's character was actually 11. Oh, very disappointing at the return of the Miley Cyrus show. First time they did that this season. Very disappointing that was mediocre, but that was all Bieber's fault. And then the sexy Valentine's Day message, whatever. Yeah, so I don't have any sketches down here as bad. Although the Valentine's Day message, I mean, it wasn't awful, but there wasn't really anything good about it. So that was almost bad. And in the Miley Cyrus show, I kind of almost want to say that one was bad too. But you still had Vanessa as Miley, and duh, that's a great impression. So that saved that sketch from being truly awful. As for Bieber's performances, yeah. And, I don't hate him, and he's got some decent songs, so he could have been better. Overall, I give this episode 4 out of 7 swags out of no swag. Bieber proved, or at least provided evidence with this episode, that he profoundly does not know how to allow himself to be made fun of. And that puts him in a class of SNL hosts along people like Donald Trump and Paris Hilton, like non-performers, non-performing celebrities. And he wasn't quite as bad as those, because he did have some performance skills, and there were at least 1 or 2 sketches where he had enough skill to get by. But whenever he was playing himself or a character like himself, he went for cheers. He played the audience to get them to go crazy instead of going for the laugh. And and a few times he made a face where he didn't even understand what was funny. He's like, hey, here's my lines. I don't know why I'm saying it. Apparently it's funny, And maybe he'll grow out of that. Maybe he'll realize how to be funny. But yeah, I wouldn't invite him back to host. You can maybe get him to work in, like in a couple sketches. And honestly, when they've had him on in sketches in the past, when Tina Fey hosted and he was the musical guest, they used him for a couple things. I think there was one other episode he made a cameo appearance. I forget what it was exactly. I think it was in a digital short, if I remember correctly, and that worked out okay. So, I mean, he can use him. He can work if utilized correctly, but he doesn't have the right stuff for carrying the whole show. Next episode on the 16th, my sister's 21st birthday, is Christoph Waltz and musical guest Alabama Shakes. So that's a solid lineup of first timers. So I'll see you then, and